Hello and welcome to Morris Park. This morning I want to talk to you about crested euphorbias on Euphorbia 101. Cresting can happen in many plants. In fact, most plants out there, I think this can occur. And it just doesn't occur in succulent plants or just euphorbias. This happens in many kinds of plants. I've seen this happen in everything from oxeye daisies, cucumbers, common weeds out in the yard, cacti and succulents of other kinds, like this Trichocereus here, Thelagona's crest. This is not its normal form. Normally it'd be kind of a roundish or a cylindrical, more kind of cactus. But as you see, it's crested out here. But we're not here to talk about cactus. Cresting can occur in many kinds of euphorbias. The biggest part of my collection as far as crested goes is these lacteas. I'm kind of fond of these lacteas since they come in many colors, as you see here. Now normally this plant would look like these branches here. See how they're three-angled, normal looking branches, and similar to this one here. These are more normal forms. Now, of course, these are variegated. The green form looking like this. You can see it's a three-angled branch. But what's happened with these, if they become fasciated, as they say, the term fasciated means it is growing abnormally, cresting or monstrose. And I don't have any actual monstrose euphorbias here to show you, but monstrose would be where branches would be just coming out from everywhere. It just looked like a big knot. Something like this. This would be a good example of monstrose plant here. This is actually a cereus, but you can see the growing points just come out from everywhere. It's just not these fan-shaped crests. This is actually another euphorbia crest I have. This is Euphorbia abyssinica, crested form. You can see some of the new shoots coming out that are normal forms here. And I'll show you kind of about that here in a minute. But this is actually the crested form of the king. This giant euphorbia here. Back off a little bit from it so we can see this. But yes, it's the crested form of that, believe it or not. And yes, it does look like this. Now with crested plants, something always happens, and that's these normal branches. Such as right here. Now what happens is the plant, what it's doing is trying to correct itself. Since cresting is abnormal, the plant wants to actually correct itself and try to grow normal. Problem with this is you're going to start losing your cresting. The normal part of the plant will actually be stronger and try to take over the plant. There's something you can do about this. Now with cresting, here's what happens, and I'll explain this. In a normal plant, as you see here, three or four-angled, this one's a four-angled branch on this Lactea variegata. What happens is the normal growth that grows upwards, as you see here, this normal plant, instead of growing up, the mirror stem, which would be this growing point right here, this very growing point, starts to mutate. And instead of growing upwards, it grows outwards like this. And it starts growing wide into a fan shape, instead of having that three-angled branch. And so you get this fasciation, or cresting as it will, and the plant fans out. As I say, there are so many different plants that do this. It is a mutation. It's not a normal thing that happens. As you can see here, another tricolor, this green crest, one here. And the growing points just fan out and turn into these undulating wide fans. And that's what makes these so attractive. But this is a mutation. As you see, this is a normal piece coming out here. But these are mutations to where the meristem just kind of widens out on the plant. See that? And creates these wonderful undulating masses of fans and so forth that makes these almost like a living sculpture. Aren't those marvelous? And that's how pretty much cresting happens. Not a normal thing, a mutation, but it's a mutation we try to further. And in nature, sometimes these fans just, they'll start, and then all of a sudden the normal growth will start in, and it'll kind of take it over. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, what we're going to do about this is actually remove those normal branches. And so what you're going to want to do, of course, is get your alcohol. Make sure your clippers are good. Wipe your clippers off really good. Okay. And we're pretty much ready to remove these normal branches. So all you do is have your water bottle ready. You're going to have your water bottle. You'll need a spray bottle. And it's quite simple. We're just going to remove the normal branches. I know it seems a little drastic, but you want to remove the normal branches so they don't take over the rest of the plant. Just remove them like that. I'm going to even this out just a little bit. See if I can get a good angle on this. Just going to cut that down a little bit. You'll notice sometimes when cutting these Euphorbias, they have kind of an odor to them. This one particularly does. It's kind of a little stink odor to it. You want to wash this down so it stops bleeding. Now, I'm going to wash these little guys down too, because later on I'm going to plant these. And these will actually be a really nice plant. This is what I call Euphorbia lactea, variegata, speckled tricolor. If you notice, it looks kind of different from my white one that's behind it. The white one behind it is a lot more white. And this one has kind of like the three color going on. It's got pink, green, and white kind of going on in that. These vary quite a bit. They can be green and piebald, and what I mean by that is green with white patches, stark white patches. As you see, we got the green one back here. That's solid green. By the way, this was given to me by our secretary Debbie at where I work at Cord Moving and Storage. But she gave me this some years ago, and it's doing wonderful. But yes, later on I'll take and reroot these little cuttings. After I wash them off and let them dry, you can let them dry for about a week or so. Actually, you can keep them back even longer. They last a long time. But anyhow, that'll maintain the crest and keep your cresting parts growing instead of the normal ones. And actually, there's a couple more up here that need to be snipped off. And I'm going to take and go ahead and do that. There. And there. Go ahead and wash that off. This lactea does have quite a bit of an odor to it with this sap. It's not really a good one either. I'm going to wash these guys off. And later on, I'll just treat these like cuttings and root them up. So that they will become like this plant right here. This Euphorbia lactea, variegata plant here, that's not crested. Now you see, This one kind of has the piebald look, is what I was talking about, right there. It's got the green with some stark white patches here and there, kind of a piebald pattern. There's an interesting one too. But I'll go ahead and root these up, and after they dry, of course, and make some new plants like that. This Abyssinica crest will have to have the same thing happen with it. I'll have to cut these off later and remove these, or this is going to continue to grow out normally and end up like this. And I've already got a huge giant. I don't need another giant. So I want to maintain the crest, and I will snip these off. And these, as I say, can be rooted later on. And if I wanted to use them as grafting stocks and so forth, they would work for that too. Anyhow, this is Clyde Morris from Morris Park. I just want to show you some of these crested Euphorbias and some of their odd form, and show you how to kind of maintain them by keeping the normal growth trimmed off. And also, you can see where I've done this before, and it looks a little reddish. You can sprinkle some cinnamon powder on that, and it helps be antibacterial. Let me show you that. And all you got to do is like that. And you can wash some of this off later on. And that'll cover those little cuts there. And it kind of acts as an antibacterial. I'd say I'll kind of wash this off. In fact, you can do this right after you put that on. Kind of wash that off. Leave it on the cut, of course. Don't wash it off the cut. But just kind of clean it up a little. And there you go. That cinnamon ought to take care of that. It won't get infected or anything. And it'll come out nice and neat. And that's a good little tip, actually, to have. I learned this tip from Lynn of Desert Plants of Avalon. If you haven't seen her channel, go to Desert Plants of Avalon. And she has some wonderful tips on there. And this has been one of them. And Anna of Cactus Caffeine also used this method. And so I've been using it, and it proves pretty good. I have not had any problems with any of the plants that I've treated with the cinnamon. Anyhow, this is Clyde Morris of Morris Park. I hope you enjoyed my crested Euphorbias and how to maintain them. There's a little normal branch that will have to be cut off. Anyhow, I hope you all have a great day. Take care from Morris Park.